Okay.
This is the CPC 100 by Omicron. It is the current transformer ratio tester. When you first turn this on, it takes a while to boot up, and you can get to the menus using this button here. We will be doing two tests today, CT ratio and burden, and the second test will be the CT excitation. You can press enter here or enter here. Anytime you select a test, it creates a file folder tab across the top. You can go back and forth. You can delete that card if you don't need it. So I have the two tests that we'll be doing arranged. So before we start, we have to make all our connections. Always make sure the key is off, and you can push the e-stop so no testing can take place. With the keyboard lock, you can't even type or change anything. So as long as the e-stop is pushed, you can unlock the keyboard and set up your tests. Then turn off the e-stop and you'll push the green button and wait. It'll run the test and give you the results. So the results, what you'll be doing is in these different fields, you're going to set the parameters of the current transformer you're testing. We'll look at that in a second. So first, this has to be off. The e-stop is pushed. These are your primary connections here. Red goes into the red terminal. It's up to 800 amps AC that it can run for a test. So the red lead, these are long leads, so we're going to put the slack, run through once through the current transformer, and then we're clamping it onto the bus bar. This is a ground bar. Our black lead goes straight from the tester to here to the bus bar. This is tied to a ground and a ground mat, so this keeps the voltage of our test at 0 volts. The other important thing is to ensure you have the green ground clamp, and the other end of that wire goes up under this nut here. And that holds the case of this at 0 volts. So these two can be beside each other. This one is a little separate. That's our primary. It sends current through here. The secondary of your transformer is these terminals here, and there's a chart in the lab. You have to look at the ratio. The ratio of the transformer is right here. This is a 3000 to 5, this particular one. So 3,000 amps on the primary will give you 5 amps on the secondary. So I'm going to go from X1 to X5. And if you go to the table, that's full voltage. That should give us a 3,000 to 5 ratio. When you select the ratio tests, it turns on the lights to show you which terminals you're connecting. These are the 800 amp terminals on the side for the primary, and the input, or our secondary, is using these two terminals. Now we have to set up for our test. The range we don't change, that's this machine. This is our ratio, primary and secondary. So I'm going to arrow, keyboard's locked. So I unlock the keyboard, that goes away. Arrow down until you get to this field. So we want to just type in 3000, hit the enter key. Secondary is always 5 amps. Testing current, we're going to use 100 amps to test. This is all set, so now we just want to run this test. So the keyboard's unlocked. I'm going to unlock the e-stop. Keep your hands clear, push and hold the test button for a second, and it starts to test. It's finished. Primary current, 99.98 amps. Secondary was 166 milliamps. Deviation, 0.06%. And ratio, 3,000 to 4.9927. And that's a 0.15% deviation. So that's a pass. If you get the polarity reversed on your secondary, the test will fail under the polarity section. So before you can do your next test, always push the e-stop. Then you can put your new ratio in from the table. You're going to test.
Take a picture of it first.
Yes, take a picture of your results. Before you can go on, you'll have to go up and down on these side arrows and find clear results. Once the results are cleared, you can type in new parameters and run another test. So you're going to test terminals X1 to X5, X1 to X4, X1 to X3, and X1 to X2. There are 4 of the large CT transformers, and there are 2 smaller ones, the donut types there. So you can test all 4 of these plus these 2. What's the ratio on this? 200 to 1, 1600 to 5. 200 to 1 is an odd ratio. Well, maybe...
No, it's a PT.
That's right, that's a potential transformer. Don't test this one. All right. So when you get your tests done, take a picture of each successful test. And that's the first part of the lab.